Hey everybody, it's John here from Gasper's Automotive Restoration and Matt Firestone from Old Yankee Speed Company. Today we're doing a quick video. We're working together here on Matt's 40 Ford. It's a really cool car. It's a two-door and it needs a new motor. So we've got a new motor sitting over to the side. We're gonna roll the car in here and we're gonna do some repairs. We're gonna load the motor in the car and we figured you guys might wanna check it out.
Yeah.
So let's get to it. Probably good. Nice. Get a little wheel chalk here.
I got tacky brake.
Oh. All right, everybody. So this is Matt's 40 Ford, and we got a bunch of things to do. So what's on the list?
Okay, so this car, when I bought it, originally had a very nicely built 51, 52 Merc motor in it, 60 over. I don't know if the cam was a stock cam that was machined or what, but it was a, it was a runner and it went pretty good. Unfortunately, I don't know, it overheated and we decided to pull it and put a new motor in the car. So what's going in here is an APA, which is basically more or less the same motor, except it's 30 over and obviously the crank's a little bit different. Hopefully it'll still go down the road pretty well. This car's got 354 rear gears in it.
By the way, just to interject real quick, Matt's car, this car moved with that other engine. I don't know what was going on with that thing, but it was like the perfect combination with the power coming out of that thing and being a stick shift and not a power robbing automatic. And then that rear diff, we could do what, 75, 80?
Yeah,
no
75,
problem?
80, like down the road, down the highway, under 3,000 RPM. About like 2,200 at 75, which was pretty awesome. So hopefully this new motor is going to perform just as well. It doesn't need to burn the tires off the car like the old motor did.
Well, that'd be kind of cool though.
I mean, it would be cool, but I'm real hard on my stuff. I'm kind of known for driving like an idiot. So, this car is going to be maybe more of a cruiser now and less of a like, let's beat the snot out of it on the highway. So we're going to be putting the APA in here. The APA came out of a 51 Ford shoebox. They rebuilt the motor. It's 30 over, very clean, and then decided to put a small block Ford in the car, yanked it out, sold it to our good friend Steve Peters, and Steve was gracious enough when I needed a motor to sell that motor to me, because originally I was going to put a Y block in here, which I have all built and ready to go, but I really don't want to re-engineer anything right now, and I have another project in the works, so it's really, let's get this thing back together. And because the other thing too is the other motor was really snotty looking. It really needed to be freshened up with paint and all that stuff, which we are going to rebuild that other motor, but this allowed me to really make this new motor look really nice, repaint this firewall, which was always kind of snotty looking, and clean up a bunch of stuff. I got some nice Fenton headers to put on the car now instead of these, I don't know, they're Speedway Specials or whatever they are. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this thing back on the road, and then there's some other stuff I'll be doing as well. I'm gonna bring the rear down a little bit, put a rear sway bar in as well. So, but first it needs to be able to drive, so let's put a motor in.
And that's something to remember too. I run a restoration shop here, and Matt's doing the right thing. When you're going to this trouble to change a motor, this isn't going to be, admittedly, this isn't going to be a show car here. It's just a nice driver, nice example. And Matt took the time to do this here. If you're doing this at home, you should take the time to do this too. If you've got the motor out, or even if you got just the front clip off, take the time to do this. Don't be in a hurry just to slap it together, and then later on you go, oh gee, I want to paint my firewall, and you got a motor in the way and all this stuff. So he's doing it the right way here, and this is all ready to go. So it's pretty cool. All right, let's get to it.
these look to be like, I mean, they got castle nuts and cotter pins, like.
Yeah, those are cool, having the putting the castle nuts on there, rather than having like the aftermarket one you were saying.
I doubt they're original, but they're definitely older style reproductions where they were a little bit more quality made than what's out there now. So we'll try to reuse these. Let me grab a hammer to knock that out a little bit. That's in there good. I think I need the persuader. There we go.
Here it goes.
Yep.
Nice. Want to show them how that goes?
Yeah.
For anybody out there?
So this just sits up in the cross member here, and actually whenever you take out your motor mounts, it's always a good time to inspect your cross member to make sure that there's no cracks or any damage or anything like that. On these later Fords, the fat fender cars, these things are a lot more beefier than they are on your Model A's and earlier cars. It's not uncommon, especially on Model A's, especially 28, 29, to see like in the cross member cracks and stuff like that. So this one looks to be like in pretty good shape. I don't see anything that pops out to me, but these things have definitely been in here for some time now, you know. So we'll clean these all up on the wire wheel and make them look nice and put them back in.
This is just a quick little blurb here in the video. It's a little pause. This is just a cool idea for your garage. We had this table laying around, and we had all these different machines here. We had a vertical belt sander, the wire wheel, and another grinder, and we had a little vise too. And this table was laying in the corner. It was kind of useless, really, and so we decided to put wheels on it, and we mounted all these machines on it. So it was pretty cool. Mount all the machines and put a power supply right here, so you can plug it in and plug all the machines in, and you can plug in other things too that you're working on. So just kind of a cool thing for your shop if you're looking for something in your garage to help save space. Put everything on one table, and you do all your grinding and wire wheeling right here.
There's nothing more gratifying than putting something on the wire wheel and just watching the rust like disappear. I think we may replace these.
I think those are fine.
Yeah.
That's minor. Yeah. I'd go with it. I don't see anything wrong with that.
I mean,
there's no structural loss here at all.
All 115 horsepower of that flathead may stress these out.
Yeah, those are good for about probably 400 horse.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Okay, so holding this brake line here, which I made a few years ago, because these brakes are actually upgraded brakes. These are 53 to 56 Ford F100 style brakes, adapted to work on an early Ford spindle. The reason why I'm using these brakes is because they're self-energizing, which early Ford brakes, Lockheed style, are not, and it's a nice upgrade, and it's an old school way of getting a better brake if you're not a master of adjusting Lockheed brakes. So that was what I did a few years ago, and I had to make a new line here, and I just did this on the floor of my garage without a lift, and I probably missed putting one of these little clamps back on, and then we just discovered they're plastic. So John was gracious enough to give me some nice stainless steel ones, so we're gonna swap those out with some stainless steel clamps and some stainless steel 8/32 bolts and lock washers and nuts. So it'll secure this brake line where it needs to be, and also, you know, it's nice stainless steel and not plastic. You may notice too that my tie rod is bent. That was from a tow truck driver when this thing got flatbedded. He, even though I told him not to, put the tow hook right around and bent my tie rod. Thankfully, that was with Haggerty Insurance doing the tow job, so they replaced it. I yet to put it on there. I haven't put it on yet. We'll be doing that too.
Yeah, just a note here too, somebody used the wrong cotter pin here, the wrong size. I actually pulled it through past the head of the cotter pin, actually the wrong way. You definitely want to use the right diameter cotter pin when you're putting these castle nuts back on the car. You know, these things can actually shear off if it's not strong enough, so keep that in mind. All right. Now here's the tie rod end here. When you're removing this, one technique that works quite well sometimes is you want to hit the end of the tie rod here, the spindle, where the tie rod comes through here with this bolt. You want to hit the side of the spindle here and shock it. One hit hard, and what that does is it helps release any type of rust that might be in here or a connection, and it makes it easier to remove. Now we're going to come in with our front end fork here. This fork is for separating tie rod. Okay, there we go. Go. The tie rod end.
Yeah, you got the wrong one.
What's that?
You got the wrong one. You got the steering arm.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
I did?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Okay, everybody, there's what happens. Sometimes you get the wrong fitting there. So I accidentally got the drag link. No harm done. Gonna take off the other side here.
So I had this car painted recently by a friend of mine who's actually an incredible painter. And you're going, how incredible is he? There's overspray all over the place. Well, he did me a real solid and just did it quick and dirty on his car. It's just a driver. It kind of is what it is. I'm going to be cleaning up a lot of the overspray now since the front end's off like that. And also, the car was painted with the fenders on it, so you can see like behind where the fenders were, it's still the primer. We'll be taking care of that as well. It wasn't supposed to be $1 million paint job. It was far, far from it. And overall, it is a nice paint job, but there is a lot of overspray. So just a word about how this car is set up, because I'm sure someone's gonna ask. This car has an original Ford axle that's been dropped before. And I don't know if anybody caught that, but it's an original Ford axle dropped 4 inches. The front spring is a Posey's Super Slider spring for lowering 35 to 41 Fords. I never replaced it with my own spring. I actually make a reverse eye main for these because, well, I just didn't want to take the car apart. And honestly, that Posey spring does exactly what it's supposed to do. I can't say anything bad about it. But maybe one day I'll put my own spring in there, but who knows.
Now that I've removed the correct tie rod end and I've reattached the wrong one, let's take this tie rod right out of here. And you can see why we had to replace this here.
Yeah, hang on. There we go.
You can see the bend here in this thing.
Yeah.
And you know, tow truck driver didn't know what he's doing.
Never seen a straight axle car before. Probably hadn't driven a tow truck very long either.
Yep.
And you know, the kicker is I was just using that Haggerty roadside assistance deal that I was paying for. The car wasn't broken down. I probably could have driven it home. I think I just needed to hook up the brakes or something like that. It was something really silly.
And you know, I have a restoration shop here, and a lot of people, they take stuff like this and they throw it away. I'm just gonna buy a new one, and that's you know, really good and stuff. But if you're on a budget and you can't afford this, you know, 10 bucks adds up, another 10 bucks, another 40 bucks, 50 bucks, whatever. All of a sudden, $500,000-$600,000, you know, you put some sweat equity into something and you can fix something like this. So if we get a chance, we'll show you how to fix this, and you can get this to the point where you almost can't tell that it's been bent. And there's nothing wrong with trying to straighten this out from an incident like this, so you can save yourself a couple $100 bucks.
And take the shop truck.
So anybody that's interested in what this is, it's a 1982 Chevy C10, 8-foot bed, standard cab, square body Chevy. It's got a 292 inline 6 and a 465 Muncie 4-speed transmission. Very typical drivetrain from the 70s and 80s. And it's the exact same setup and type of truck I had when I was in high school. So I stumbled across this thing years ago and picked it up for real cheap, and all I had to do was put a clutch in it.
So now we're recording.
Okay, yeah, you gotta zip those 4 bolts off.
So let me just talk about this for a second. So we're about to take this engine off of this stand, and we're going to put on the clutch, and we're going to put on the bell housing. Now, this is a later flathead, so it is okay to put on this type of stand. However, I don't suggest doing it for a very long time without supporting the front. If you have an earlier flathead, a 59AB, or even earlier 24 stud or 21 stud, you really want to get the right adapter to use with your engine stand, which basically mounts it sideways in parallel with this here, because the built-in bell housing or casting on those early motors will crack with that much weight on it. I see guys sometimes do this with an early motor. I totally don't suggest it. They are fragile. So the way we have this now is okay, but if we were going to store this for long term, preferably we would have it with the proper adapter, or have the front supported with a 2x4 or some other type of device that's going to keep the weight kind of evenly distributed.
All right, ready? You say when. I got some weight. Here we go.
And now we're going to safety wire these, which is an important thing to do. Get yourself a medical stool.
Yeah, get yourself a medical stool. Actually, let me...
You go in behind in your building, and then take it and use it in your shop.
Let's zoom in here a little bit on this. So when I'm going to safety wire these bolts together, and all you need to do is go between two bolts and two bolts. You don't have to go all the way around in four. So I'm going to show you the proper way to do this. I'm sure if there's anybody out there that works in the aircraft industry, you probably have to do a little bit different than I'm doing it, but for automotive, this is definitely going to work well. So what you do is you get enough with plenty of extra to do a loop around between two of the bolts like this. And we've got plenty of extra material here. So you start with one bolt here. And this is a pair of special pliers made for safety wire. You don't have to have these, but it makes it way easier to do the job. They're not that expensive. Put a link in the description on this this video here, and for this pair of pliers, they're not that expensive. If you're working on a lot of engines or you're doing transmissions on older trucks and cars, you're going to want to get a set of these. So you pull it through until it's about halfway, and then you're going to pull this taut with your fingers, and you're going to crisscross it just before the other bolt. You squeeze the pliers and you lock them in place, just so this tip of the plier is just before you hit this bolt here. And then you're going to pull and twist the wire. You pull and release. Now the wire is twisted between these two, and you're going to want to feed another one of these legs through here. So I'll take this one. You go through this bolt now. And you pull this through. So you have one leg through and one leg not through. And then you can grab this side here. And you lock the pliers on like that. And you're going to pull on this side. And you don't want to over twist this thing either, because if you try to pull it too tight, it'll actually snap the wire. I'm using stainless steel wire on this. I believe this is 40 thousandths steel wire, stainless steel wire, and it's nice. It doesn't corrode, and it's easy to work with. And then at the end here, you cut off. You're going to leave about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch of the twisted part there, and you just push this in. And now this is safety wire, and these bolts can't come undone. And then we're going to do the other side. And we'll fold this in here, and safety wire is done.
Okay, so we got the pressure plate on here already. It's been safety wired. We're just going to hit this real quick with some brake clean, get off any grease, grime, fingerprints, what have you. All right. Okay. We have our clutch here with our clutch alignment tool. I'm going to place into here.
Slide the clutch on. There you go.
There. And then we have,
Wipe that with the...
yeah, I'm going to clean this too real quick.
You definitely don't want to skimp on cleaning off this stuff and being in a hurry, because you get grease or something in there, it could mess up your clutch and make it chatter or slip or whatnot. So
It's a good time too to inspect your clutch prior to doing this, making sure that it's not worn. I mean, they're cheap enough to replace.
let me give you a hand here. You can hold that and I'll get these bolts started here.
You want to hand me one? I'll get one over on this corner.
Sure. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, that's wrong. Somebody put the wrong washer in the... Wait a minute, what's going on here? Did I grab the... I think I grabbed the wrong... I think I grabbed the wrong ones. My fault. Sometimes that happens. You grab the wrong hardware. Actually, you know, I don't even believe this needs... This is supposed to have lock washers on it.
Are you not doing lock washers?
I don't think so, no. Not on this.
No, I think it did have them. I mean, it definitely had them.
We could do, actually, you know what would be even better than these lock washers is to use a star washer. Let's try that, because it's a lot thinner. Having a lock washer like that sticks out pretty far, and these star washers will work really well. Yeah, here we go. These will provide a lock, and they won't take up the length of, yeah, exactly, the thread space of the bolt. This is stuff you're going to encounter too when you're taking apart your car or truck here, and you know, someone's used the wrong hardware, or you know, there was somebody's different idea, this and that, whatever. See, these are going in nice now.
Yeah.
With these star washers. Yeah, we can actually get 2 or 3 threads with our hands here versus these while Matt's tightening that, I'm gonna show you the difference here real quick between a star washer and a lock washer. As you can see here, here's a star washer. It's much thinner than a split washer here. Makes a big difference when you have a small bolt and you're trying to get a little bit of extra length in the bolt. Now you'll see Matt is tightening this. He's not going to be tightening the bolts very much each time. He's going to be going around crisscross pattern, bringing the pressure plate in gently. If you try to bring it in too quickly, you will actually warp it and bend the pressure plate, and the clutch will chatter like crazy, and you'll wonder why your clutch isn't working properly.
Kind of how you want to do lug nuts, just kind of skip around. Yeah. I'm just doing like kind of a little tight. I'm not putting tons of pressure on this or anything like that. This is going to get torqued down to a torque spec, which I can't remember off.
20 foot-pounds, I believe. It was 17 to 20 foot-pounds for the bolts.
20 foot-pounds, which, you know, we'll put a link to Van Pelt's torque specs. Van Pelt Early Ford Supply has a great website with lots of information, so we'll put a link in that in the description as well. So I just actually saved it to my phone because it comes in handy all the time and I feel like I'm always looking it up.
And you'll know your pressure plate is going in properly. You'll watch the fingers in the center, and you'll see them slowly compress and move as you torque the thing, as you tighten it down. And again, you just want to go crisscross pattern back and forth, 180 degrees across, and gently bring that in until when you're tightening with your wrist, it's getting to be kind of hard to turn. Then you know you're ready to switch to your torque wrench.
Yep, we're ready for the torque wrench.
All right.
There's a bunch of stuff on here.
And you see some of these videos and these shows on the professionally produced shows online, and they have everything they're working on is brand new and shiny, and that's real nice, but that's not exactly in most people's budgets in reality. So we're showing you, realistic things here. We had this flywheel resurfaced across the street here at a local transmission shop, and we are putting the old clutch and pressure plate back on because it didn't have a ton of miles on it, and it was in perfect working order. So there's no reason to spend extra money on that to have that redone for nothing. So that's going to be a real light click on that thing. There you go. Yep. Now see how they did that? Now we're going to get a paint marker here and mark that. So that's done. And we can keep track of which ones have been done. You put a little line on here like that. There we go. That one's done. That way we don't forget, and we know that we torqued them. So later on, if we left and came back tomorrow, we wouldn't go, gee, did I torque that? Halfway there.
It's a little bit of a trick getting this motor steady enough and making sure that your torque wrench is on. Plus this has got a flex head ratchet, which is really nice to have in most cases.
There you go. Okay.
Right. Okay.
That one's done. All right. I think you clicked.
Yep, it did.
Yep. There you go. All right. Do the last one here. There we go. So you can see here, we're all torqued. Everything's marked. And last thing, take your alignment tool out.
Another thing too, John and I were just discussing, because I forgot to do it the other day, is when you're done using your torque wrench, is pull, especially if you're using like a mechanical torque wrench, is to go back to 0 and don't leave any torque on your wrench, because especially this is a very nice snap-on torque wrench, but when you get into the kind of I wouldn't say more affordable torque wrenches, they're definitely not as forgiving, and they will get ruined if you leave like a foot-pound on it more than 0, you know, for a long period of time. It will get out of calibration or just isn't going to do what it needs to do later on. So reset this back to 0. I'm sure we're going to use it again just shortly, but it's all set to go. We should just do this for a living. We got our bell housing here that's going to go right on the back here. It's going to line up. Oop, that's nice. With the pin. So we're putting new bolts in here with lock washers. This car got shuffled around a little bit over the last couple months, just between shops. So things are kind of all over the place. I'm sure I have them, but.
Yeah, I don't know if these bolts are too long here. We'll find out. We're kind of guessing here exactly how long these are supposed to be.
They're shorter.
They should be shorter than this.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Let me go get a.
I think they're 3/4.
They were 3/4 long.
Yep.
Okay, let me go back and grab some other ones. Yep. One nice thing about doing this at your friend's restoration shop is that
All the hardware's here.
yeah, you can go right to the labeled bins in the back and get the correct one. These are 1 inch. This is the shortest I actually had, so I'll let you change those out. Okay. And I'll start taking some of these out here. Yeah, those are going to work much better. There we go. There's another one. Get this guy out of here.
I can't remember. Did we? No, we didn't pull the engine on this car before, but we pulled the transmission a couple years ago. Remember July 4th? We did a throw-out bearing and resurfaced the flywheel, and
yeah, sure.
yeah, it was a couple of years.
Just
ago.
for the record, Matt's memory is much better than mine. I can't remember a lot of different things, but I do seem to remember something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we did it here. Me, you, and Steve.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I kind of do remember that now. Yeah.
That one was already.
I guess with the number of engines and transmissions I do here and repairs, it's kind of a blur sometimes.
We did the new rear spring too.
You want to get that one? I'm going to grab the gun here.
I feel like that's cross-threaded.
Just send it home. It'll thread in there. Here, I would try that one before you do any of the others. That way it's still loose. Just try to go in a little bit. All right, there you go. Yep.
So these are all going to get torqued down too as well, which I can't remember the spec, but we're going to look that up real quick. I just put that torque spec on my phone too.
Oh, yeah.
Bell housing to block 37 to 42.
37 to 40. We'll probably just make it 40. Make it even 40. And just to note, if you're going to be torquing things like head bolts or pretty much, I think head bolts are really the only ones that I've done this on, really. But if it's a torque that's, say 80 or 65 foot-pounds or something like that, 55 foot-pounds, especially on a cylinder head, you're going to want to step up your torque. So you torque, say 20, 25 foot-pounds first all the way around in the correct pattern, and then you come back and do it again at 40, 35, 40 pounds, and then you do your final torque. And, with some cylinder heads like these aluminum heads here, you have to do your first torque, and then you have to start the engine, run it up to normal operating temperature at idle, and then let it cool off. Shut it off, let it sit for 3-4 hours, and then do your second torque, and then start it up, let it come up to temperature, shut it off, let it cool off 3-4 hours, and then do your third and final torque, and then you take your car out and hammer on it, right, Matt?
Yep. All right.
Now you do your third and final torque, and then you take your car out and you test drive it, and you should be good to go.
Snug this one up a little bit still.
There we go. I'll get that paint marker. This one?
Yep.
Is this one done?
Yep.
Okay. There we go. Torqued and marked.
Yeah, definitely invest in a good torque. If you own a flathead, or really, anytime you're in this automotive stuff, you should really invest in a good torque wrench.
We need to go down to O'Reilly Auto Parts, don't we?
It has not come in. It did not show up yesterday.
Oh, okay. Matt had ordered an oil pressure sending unit, which goes right here on this pipe fitting. And from O'Reilly Auto Parts, they had it, and it has not come in yet. So this is something you want to try to put on the car if you can before you put the motor in, because it's kind of tight back here with the firewall, and trying to get some of this stuff on there. But
yeah, same with these Fenton headers. These are actually, I think, original Fentons that I just got from somebody. Speedway reproduces them. I did order the hardware from Speedway, but these headers definitely need to go on this car, or on this engine, out of the car. I don't think you could ever get them into the car with the motor still being in the car. We also discovered pretty quickly that even though the hardware that, I'll flip this around, that Speedway gives you, which is really nice stainless steel Allen key head bolts here, it is not going to work for underneath here. Unless you have some specialty tool I don't know about. So we just used hex head underneath here and here on these two, and we were able to get the Allen key head underneath here, but that's just kind of something to think about or to know about, because I read the reviews on the Speedway site, and nobody mentioned anything about that. They just mentioned, oh yeah, make sure that this is out of the car when you put these on. So
yeah, just because some company or somebody says there's a kit doesn't mean it's going to work right. Yeah, I mean, there's proof right there. You just got to sometimes think outside the box.
Yep. All right.
Okay, we ready to put this into the car, or?
What we should do now is put the oil filter housing on, because so really anything below deck, if you will, you should try to get on the car before you get it into the car. So we have the oil filler,
Dipstick tube?
Dipstick tube, not that big of a deal. But we do have the oil filter housing that goes here. There's a line that runs to here, as well as a line that runs over here. So
yeah, we should definitely put that on.
Put those on now.
Yep.
And I think we may need to reshape this lower tube. I'm not sure yet.
What's that, the dipstick tube?
Yeah. And actually, I need to get some hardware, stainless steel, for this, because when I bought it yesterday, it was packaged wrong, and we ended up with fine thread instead of...
Yeah, you need the coarse thread stainless,
yeah.
huh?
Yep. So, but we could just mock this up for a second here. That's going to go there.
Well, there is the fact that you've got these bolts here. Your head bolts are not stainless anyway, so these are just black oxide.
Yeah, but
you can put some zinc plated on there.
Everything else I have on here is all...
Oh, everything is stainless?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So...
All right.
So that's going to go to there, and actually, this seems to be...
Well, we got to take a trip to the hardware store
much
then.
longer than it needs to be, but this should be fine. So that's going to go like that, and then this one...
Do you want me to make a new tube for you here out of copper nickel?
I think we'll be all right with that.
Okay.
Unless we think it's going to get in the way. This one, though, we may need to...
It just seems kind of funky that it's...
This one definitely does not seem...
Looks like it was a line that was from something else that was bent
like
around. Yeah. Because if we go get some bolts and bolt this on, and then we can, you know...
Yeah, let's make a new one.
Do something better, yeah. And then we could do it copper nickel. You could actually polish it if you wanted to. It would look kind of cool.
Yep. This one's okay.
That one's okay? All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be nice. Yeah. I don't think Hardware on Wheels is open, but we could just go to the hardware store on Main Street.
Yeah, we'll have to run down to the hardware store. So let's stay. Let's zoom down there.
Yep.
We'll take the shop truck.
Okay, so we got the dipstick tube we're gonna put back in here. I'm just gonna put a little anti-seize on here first. I like anti-seize everything now. It's like I'm like covered in this stuff all the time.
Can't go wrong.
It's got silver on it, but it's the way to go. Just so you don't have to worry about binding. It is a pain with these because it's hard to get them to get tight because you really can't get anything on these. You don't want to like crunch or bend it, or.
I got a special tool for that. I have the world's smallest pipe wrench right here. It may work, I don't know. I found this thing at a swap meet, or I forget where I got it, but it's been so handy for stupid little things like this. So I'll have Matt see if it works for him.
Yep. So I put a little dab on the threads here. going pretty good. Let's give this a shot.
Yeah, I don't know where you can get in there, but you might maybe
I was trying to do it low so that if I did like break the paint.
maybe down. I could see from here. Maybe down if you swing that wrench around over that way. Maybe. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Can't get like a real bite on it though. Like
No.
Well.
It's kind of tough there with that header in the way.
Yeah.
Darn headers.
Worst case scenario, I'll just touch this up with a little bit.
That's true. Yeah, we could just hit it real quick with a little touch, a piece of cardboard, and a little touch-up paint. Definitely don't want the dipstick tube coming out because that's a bad day. You got oil coming pouring out of that thing while you're driving along. And,
that's nice and tight now.
Yeah.
No issue. Perfect. So this is off of this motor. This isn't the one off the other car. This is so someone put this connection on here, this fitting, so they could run a mechanical oil line, which is something I definitely want to do. But this is all leaking around here, so I think what we'll do is we'll redo this with some proper. This is.
Well, you're gonna have to take that out. We could put a plug in there for now.
Yeah.
Because that's just gonna leak.
Yep.
Let me grab you. What is that? Eighth?
Yeah.
Eighth pipe. Let me grab a plug. And while Matt is over on the bench changing out that fitting there, I'm just going to talk about threads and taps here real quick. When you're buying a set of taps, you know, you should really have a set to begin with around when you're working on cars. Threads always get messed up from time to time, and they need to be cleaned out. You have taps and dies. This is a tap. The tap cleans out female threads, and the die cleans male threads. And you got to have both. They come in sets. If you're just doing one project, it's probably better off just buying a cheap set. It'll get the job done for what you need. But if you're somebody that's got you're getting into this and you're going to be working on stuff fairly frequently, you need to buy some better items. And these taps here are very nice. They're made by a company called Alfa. These are U.S. made taps. They're really nice. They're more expensive than the average tap you're going to find. But if you're doing a lot of this, you're going to want to buy these because they're very sharp. They're really well made, and they don't snap and break or mess up threads like the cheap stuff does sometimes. So I'm just going to go through here, and I'm just cleaning these threads real quick. So when Matt puts this housing on, it'll be nice and easy for him.
Okay, so all the accoutrements on this motor, with the exception of the heads, is all been attached with stainless steel hardware. So back to the whole anti-seize deal, you really want to make sure that all yours, especially with stainless, is that you anti-seize everything. And you don't want to over torque any of it either. That'll do a number on it. Of course, you're going to make a gigantic mess like I am right now with anti-seize, but small price to pay for knowing that you're not going to have issues later on.
Yeah, and the anti-seize wipes off later. It's not that big of a deal.
So I'd like to find a nice chrome one of these. See if we can get a better grip there. All right.
Okay, everybody, so I started doing some oil lines here for Matt's engine, and I wanted to show you guys, talk about some things here. I use copper nickel brake tubing here at the shop for brake lines and also for oil lines and everything else. It works really well. It never corrodes. It's easy to work with. If you make a little bit of mistake, you can reverse it pretty easy. Whereas steel line, once you make a bend or a mistake, you got to throw it away and start over. When you're rolling out tubing like this, a lot of guys, they take this and start going like this and just bending it to open it up. It's the wrong way to do it. You put it down on a flat surface. You can even do it on the floor, and you hold down the end here and you roll it out like this on a flat surface. You can do it on your toolbox like I did, or again, put your foot here on the floor and roll it out. If you have a longer length, it comes out much better. You don't get any kinks, and it's the right way to do it. So we got this oil line here, and as you can see, the oil line is not the same length, and it doesn't have this bend in it as the original one did. And the reason for that is because I had bent this and put a flare on it like this, but the headers that Matt installed earlier in the video didn't allow for this to clear. This tube goes right next to the headers, and it was going to boil the oil in here in 2 seconds. So I got another fitting for the block on a 45-degree fitting, and this is going to go down now straight into that fitting, and it's going to clear the header, which is going to be right here. So we're just going to do the last flare on this end here and then install it. So put my dies in here, put the tube in, put the first die in. Now we're going to be doing a double flare here. So there's the first half. Whoa. We'll take that out and put the cone in here for the second half. Take that out, and now we're going to remove our line, and we're done. And you can see we have a nice flare right here, and the nut line's right up, and now we're going to go install it. So when you're installing one of these lines, you want to try to use a flare wrench here. This is a design for, specifically for fittings like this. You can use a regular open-end wrench. Sometimes this is all you can use in certain spots, but you're going to want to try to get this wrench on there because it has it almost never will strip or damage the fitting. This is the important line wrench. Use one of Matt's patented magnetic trays right here. Now I can see where I am here in this tight spot. The open end wrench is the one that's going to work. When I get down to the bottom and I want to tighten it, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this flare wrench. Okay, get that on there. I'm going to get this line on here. Okay, switch over. It allows you to go right around the line like that and tighten this up. We have a nice offset here to go around the dipstick, and this comes right down here and looks nice. And it has plenty of clearance on this header. Okay.
That looks nice.
Thank you. Now off to the second line. Okay, so this is the other line here. You see we've already installed our other copper nickel line. This line here was like this. It's not looking correctly here, so I'm going to make a new one, and in order to make a new one, I'm going to show you the steps. You can make a brand new line without even having to have this. All you need to do is just have your start point and your end point, and make sure you go around everything that's going to be in the way, and we'll make a line. First thing we'll do is take a measurement from here to here, and we've got 14 inches. And we're going to have a couple of bends and a bend up here, so we're going to add 4 inches. So I'm going to cut an 18-inch piece of straight tubing. Okay, so we're going to start down here, and there's going to be a sending unit right here for the oil pressure. So we are going to have to make sure we stay clear of that. We're going to come straight up here out of this fitting, and then we're going to come in towards the cylinder head a little bit, over a little bit, and then we're going to come up. So I'm going to pick a spot right about here and make a bend. So now we have an offset, as you can see, and it comes in closer to the cylinder head, and it's going to come up, and we have to get over to here, so we have to go a couple inches over. So I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do a double 90 up here. So I'm going to run a 90 right about here. You make a mark just so I don't lose the spot. Now when you're doing this, you need to make sure you orient this tubing correctly as well. So we're going to make sure this is in this place, and I'm going to be making a bend this way. Okay, we have a 90 like that. That looks really good. And then we're gonna have another 90 here. Now, before we do this final 90, we wanna make sure we have enough room on here to do the flare on the end of the tube. So we need to kind of figure out where we're gonna go here, how much length we need before we do that. So we're coming up here, and we need to go, we need to have a 90. We need to have a 90 right about here to go in here, and we're going to need about, an inch and a half from here to here. So we're going to need about 1 3/4 inches out to here. Inch and a half plus the bend, 1 3/4. Okay, we're gonna make a cut. Inch and 3/4. So the end of our tube is going to be that. That. Okay, now we're going to put our flare on. I'll be right back. Okay, so I went over there and I put the flare on and put the nuts on here. This one's still straight. I haven't done that yet. We're going to put this here. And we're going to put a bend here now. And there we go. Lines right up. Except there was a fitting in there and I forgot about it.
This one? This is the one that came off the bottom.
That's the one that came off the bottom. This should do it right here. This is 1/8 pipe. All right. There we go. Make sure that's tight and make sure this is tight.
Just working on this car. I'm gonna be now like
There we go. 2 copper lines against the head here, and like I said, you can massage these around and move these around. I'm gonna probably tweak these things a little bit here and there, and you know, work these around a little bit exactly the way you want to go. But they look a lot nicer than the other steel lines, and you could these marks that are on here. These marks will rub off pretty easy, so you don't have permanent marker on there. And you can shine these up with some. You can shine this up with some Scotch-Brite if you want. Give it more of a shine, and just kind of play around with it. And you can take this off and cut it a little shorter and reflare it if you want. I mean, whatever you want to do. You can change some fittings here and shorten it up. It's totally up to you. So it just comes out. It looks a lot cleaner, and once it's all together, it's really going to kind of pop here. So that's how you make copper nickel lines. Another quick little thing we did here, I'll just talk about it very briefly. You've got this shroud here for the clutch that goes up under here, and it was originally attached on with nuts and bolts and lock washers, and I just took the time to tack weld on nuts here so that it's a little bit easier to take this thing on and off in the truck or in your car, and you know, you're not fumbling around with as many pieces of hardware. So just wanted to go over that real quick. And this guy slides right up in here. And we just take the bolt, line it right up, and it goes right in, so you don't have to fumble with it when you're in the car. There you go. Okay. Okay, I can't really see, so.
keep going. Yep, we're gonna
Okay, can I come down?
Yep.
Okay. Which way do you want me to go? More down or come back a little bit?
Well, I think like we got to come in.
Got to come a little bit down. Okay, I'll come in. You're hitting the steering box. You got to pull it over your way. Yep. Can I come down some more?
Yep.
We got to get the header on this side behind the steering box.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to go back. Can we go back at all?
Back, like what do you mean?
Towards the firewall?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have to bring the front of the car up.
Oh, we're hitting something?
Yeah, we're hitting the drag link.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because this engine hoist is high. You know.
Okay. All right, hang on a second. I got an idea. See, Matt, I knew there was a reason why I took that drag link off yesterday.
Yeah.
See, I told you. Just got to back the hoist up a little bit, and that drag link should fall right off.
Oh, we just slid right back.
Yeah, can you hold it? Can you grab the hoist?
Yeah.
And there it goes. There it goes. Now it's out of the way.
Okay.
All right, now I can come back some more. All right.
Come in. Something.
We clear the steering box.
Yeah.
Can I come down a hair?
Yep, you can come down.
All right. All right, you're hitting the motor mount on this side. The front of the engine's got to go over towards the passenger side a little bit. There you go. Can I come down some more?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there it goes. It just wanted to go in. Let me check the other side. Make sure that we're clear of the battery box. Everything's good over here. I think this solenoid here is really fighting. Battery cable is jammed. Okay, now it's free.
Yep. So yeah, we're past the steering box here.
Okay. Now we have to get the how about the transmission shaft? We got to get that tranny shaft in there next. Here's a light for you. And here's a light for me. I think we got to come down with the tranny a little bit. I think we're misaligned here. Can you get in there and like align it?
I can try.
Try to dive in there.
Yeah.
And I will lower the tranny down for you. Got to kind of.
I think the engine needs to like come down still, but you can bring the tranny down a little bit.
Okay. Say when.
Okay. Oh, good.
Okay. Want me to come back up or?
No, I think we're good. Like.
Okay, just watch your step if you get out. You got that handle there. All right. Do you want me to come in with the engine a little more?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna come down a hair.
Yep.
Okay. Now you may have to kind of like move that tranny or move the back of the engine or something. I can't really.
Yeah, so the engine still needs to come down.
It's gonna come down? Okay, I'll come down some more. Unfortunately, we're sitting on something here.
There we go.
That's better?
Yep.
Okay. Is it aligned?
Yeah, it looks like the input shaft is.
Just got to get that spline. Is it on the spline?
Can't tell.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it is.
Do you need a mirror?
Why don't you look at it and see what you think? Like.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look.
Here.
I got this. To the light. Yeah, it's hard to tell if that. It looks centered.
It does.
It looks centered. I think we're there. Just got to.
As we come in more here, like, really still.
Okay.
Oh, this is close. I think we're going to be okay. Yeah, because this is gonna pull away from the firewall when this front end comes down.
Yeah. Okay. We're clear of the steering box on this side. I think really the only thing left here is the transmission.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
you know.
Can you come up with the tranny a little bit? Just a half a pump on the tranny. I think we're.
I haven't come up yet. You want me
Yeah, come on up just a little bit. Okay, that's good. Come on up on the tranny. There we go.
Except you're hitting the top of the bell housing is hitting the firewall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's not going to let you snug up.
Okay, come on back down with the tranny.
Okay.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna come down with the motor a little bit.
Okay, good, good. Come up just a smish. Okay.
All right. The oil pan is hitting the cross member up here just a little bit.
Yeah, it should clear it once it comes back.
Yeah, it's got to slide back a little bit on that spline. You know, I just realized something. Probably should put a little bit of this on that shaft.
Oh, you know what we can do, John?
Here.
We can take the alignment off.
Oh yeah, that little cover. Yeah, that's right. You want what is it, a flathead? Okay. Here you go.
You know, I don't want to spray this because I don't want to get any of this on the clutch.
Can you just hit the shaft?
It's gonna like.
The clutch is back inside there. You just got to hit the spline shaft. That's all.
Let's just take this off.
All right. Got the camera in here now. Matt is removing the inspection cover here on the transmission housing. This is a transmission housing that's specific to Ford. In the larger trucks, they bought Borg water transmissions and they had these, the casings cast special to have the same shape to it.
So we're a little off, see? The motor just needs to come over to the left. You're facing the front of the car.
Oh yeah, we just have to rotate the shaft.
Yeah.
You just got to turn the shaft. Can you use that screwdriver and rotate the tranny shaft? It's just got to rotate a little bit. Yeah.
No, it doesn't really want to move.
It must be stuck in gear. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can move.
Neutral still.
Try it now.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Not too much. That's good. Try this again.
A little bit more.
I think we just need to bring the motor over.
Now you got to line up that spline. Can you go the other direction? Go opposite direction just to try to... Okay, there you go.
Yep, there we go.
That looks pretty good.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We'll spray some of this thing on.
Just try to hit that spline, that's all. We'll put a little more on there. There you go. All right, cool. All right. Okay, let's try it again now.
All right, you want me to go in there and make sure?
Yeah, I think that'd be great. If you make sure that thing is, I will try to push here.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yep. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Yep.
Yep, nice. All right, I'm gonna come down a little bit.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, now I gotta come back a little bit. We're almost there. It's just about lined up with the motor mount bolt here.
So it needs, so we need to, I think once we get the motor mount bolts in the front there, I should be able to line up these better in the back here.
Okay, I'm gonna grab that can of WD-40 from you. And I'm just gonna put some on these motor mounts to make the so the engine slips on these a little bit better. I had to come back up a hair.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Want me to come out there?
Oh,
there we go.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I'll let you get the bolt in there. Okay, I just took the weight off. We're on the motor mounts. Okay. Great. I'm gonna get an alignment pin, and we'll get these. Not quite. Have a little bit smaller pin. Just about set. Right through here with motor mount number 1. Well, we're maybe able to catch the nut here, but it's not quite going through all the way. I think we're going to have to get that tranny tacked on there all the way, yep, and then wiggle this around in the front here. But we're basically set. This would be doable, I guess, in the car, you know, with the front clip on, but definitely not as fun. Definitely not a fun time. The passenger front motor mount here is also starting to line up, and I think once you get that pulled in, how's it feel there? Is it pulling in pretty good?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you got about what, a 3/8 of an inch gap there left?
Yeah, there's a little gap left, but I'm just getting all of them started, and then I'm going to work my way around and sucking it all down.
Yeah.
There is a torque spec on these as well.
Want me to look that up for you?
Sure.
All right. Going to pull out the old Chilton manual here while Matt is working on tightening that transmission up there. Yeah, I'm not finding the torques here, Matt, for that.
On the bid help page, which I actually have in my phone.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm looking through my Chilton manual from 1953, and it's not showing anything about the transmission or clutch area. It's all talking about the engine and everything else. Everything you want to know about the engine. Yeah, it just talks about the transmission is installed in the reverse of the removal procedure. So they don't give any specifics in here on that one. Those are half-inch wrench or 9/16?
9/16.
All right, so that's a 3/8 bolt. So it's probably 20 foot-pounds or something like that, or 15 foot-pounds.
I'm just gonna look it up in a second.
Oh, okay. That's my guess. 15 to 20, somewhere in there.
I got 2 bolts to go here, and I believe they're like directly underneath.
Yeah, it's definitely pulling in there. Let's see here with this motor mount. Yep.
Yeah, you have to get underneath the car to get the last 2.
All right, I've got the motor mount bolts in just with like a half a thread just tacked in there.
Yep.
There's not quite enough room yet for the washers, but I think once we get the motor like in there and all the weight on it,
Yep.
it'll probably go. But that's tacked in there. I think I could probably take this hoist out of here, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna need the hoist, so let's finish doing that. All right, get this out of here. I'll tell you one thing, Matt. The engine looks really nice sitting in here.
Yeah.
It looks like something that would have been done in 1955 or 1952. You know, it doesn't look like it's a 1990 wants my hot rod back, or 2005 wants my hot rod back. There we go.
Yeah, looks good.
Check that out, everybody. Other than a couple of finishing up, tightening some bolts, that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, we got to find dead center. So one of the things top dead center. One of the things I did is I really wanted one of these nice like aluminum timing covers, which turned out to be off of a Merc motor. So I cut the little nub off of there, and we're just gonna have to find top dead center. We'll mark the crank pulley there for that, and when we do that, we'll also put the distributor back in the car as well. So, but
That's how you put a flathead V8 in a 40 Ford.
Yep. So one thing to discuss about this particular flathead in this car is that this is a later APA style or later Merc style. This is an APA, but the old motor was a Merc motor. So it's a little bit bigger cubic inch, and in order to get this in here to clear with your traditional style front end, meaning a drop axle and this unsplit wishbone, you do need to use a Mercury oil pan. The Ford passenger car oil pan will not work. I believe you can use the Ford truck oil pan, but don't quote me on that. This particular oil pan is a Mercury oil pan, and that's what allows this thing to fit in here without really doing anything else to the car as far as cutting or anything like that. So, you know, this car had this style motor in it when I got it, and obviously the old motor being a pretty built motor, you know, just for the sake of one for one, we put another APA or later style flathead back in the car versus a 59 AB motor or something that's a little bit earlier, 24 stud.
All right. So I guess this does it for this video, right?
Yeah, we can show at a later date how to get top dead center.
Okay. So we're gonna do finding top dead center and a bunch of other things on here at a later time, but we don't want to make this video too long, but we hope you enjoyed this, and we're going to keep on wrenching here. Matt's finishing up this transmission, and I'm going to finish up some odds and ends in the front here. So remember, if you like this, please subscribe, and always remember, keep that old iron running.